Hey guys, I was just thinking back on the amount of really success that we've had over the last year and a massive amount of growth, both with Holiday Ventures and Monumental Podcast and personally with Jeanette and myself. We've had a lot of success, and I was thinking back and I realized a big part of that was writing down my goals and my affirmations. And in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the power of writing out your goals and affirmations. And if you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video and share with a friend. All right, let's dive right in. So first off, let's talk about before you start writing goals down and affirmations down, let's get clear on what your goals actually are. Let's get clear on what excites you, what gets you motivated, what gets you pumped up, what are you passionate about. I think getting crystal clear that's 1A. That's very important. That's the most important to start this whole process. And if you aren't clear yet on that, then what I would highly recommend is reading a book like Vivid Vision and then setting aside a whole Saturday or a Saturday morning, even just an hour to 3 hours, and get crystal clear, put away distractions, and get clear on your vision and your goals. When I say goals, what does that mean? It means what I do is I have tiered goals. So I have, like, at the very top, it's like what I call the BHAG or the lifetime goals. And BHAG stands for big, hairy, audacious goals. And then also you could think about that like a bucket list. Like, what are some items that, like, if you got them done in your lifetime, you would be a happy soul and you could die happy? Think about that. Like, if you're on your deathbed, what would you have wanted to accomplish or experienced or shared or given out to the world? So start there. That's the very top. And then back into really the next kind of measurable would be 3 years. And I think that's a good long enough time frame where it's like, hey, 3 years, you can accomplish almost anything that you can put your mind to. It really gives it a long enough time frame for goals to really come to fruition, if you will. And then back into, say, okay, for my 3-year and my BHAG goals, what can I do within the next 365 days for the next year? What can I do to actually get there? So what I do is every December, I will do a recap of the prior year. Jeanette and I will rent a cabin in the woods, and we'll go for 2 days, put away our phones, we'll recap the prior year, and then we'll set our goals for the next year. And this allows us to get crystal clear on our goals for the next calendar year. And that's really powerful for me because that sets my direction. And I look at my yearly goals every day. I write them down every day. I literally listen to them every day. And so that is very important to me, setting aside that time in December. And then I take that year goal and then I extrapolate that down into, say, hey, what are my 90-day goals? And we call those our rocks. And we also use that within Holiday Ventures too. So we have company, annual goals, company 3-year goals, and then company 90-day goals. And I think that's really powerful because when you can take the big crazy goal and you're like, yeah, that sounds great, but what do I do? Like, what is the next step? And I think if you don't put the smaller steps in there, you're going to get drowned out and you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel stressed. And then you're going to not accomplish anything because you're not going to know what to do. And you're just going to give up. You're like, it'll be easier if I just give up and not do this. So that's what we're trying to take into account and combat, pretty much. So thinking about your rock goals and your annual goals, these are the ones that you're going to want to look at, write down, and put into affirmation form on a daily basis. So what's worked for me? So like I said, I take that December goal setting session, that goal setting weekend, and then I write down my goals. I write down all the goals that I could possibly want to create in 1 year. And within that, I'll have 5 or 6 pages of goals. But that also could be massively overwhelming. So don't expect to accomplish 5 pages worth of stuff, at least don't make that your goal. What I do is I create a massive list, and then I narrow it down. I say, hey, of these 5 pages of goals for the next year, what are my absolute must-have? I say 3 to like 7 goals that you must get done in the next year. Now, at the end of the day, if you don't get all 3 to 7 of them done, that's okay, but you're setting a range for yourself. You're basically saying, hey, this is my target. If I get these done, then everything else in life will be infinitely easier, and I'll be infinitely more accomplished and happy and fulfilled. So I take those. This year it happened to be, I think it's 7 goals this year for me. And I capped myself. I said, I don't want more than this. And of those 7, I actually picked the top 3. So I said, these 3 are my top goals. And so that just gives you clarity in where you're headed, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, and where are you going. So with these 3 to 7 goals, you want to be crystal clear on the target, and also be clear on making it a measurable goal. So for me, if it's getting a deal closed, I say I'm going to get this deal closed by this date, and we're going to make this much profit. I put those 3 things in my goal. So I'm very specific. If I say, hey, I want rock hard abs by 6/1/21, that is a goal of mine. I put the date, and I be very specific about stuff like that, because I know that it reminds me, it puts me on a schedule. It's like a deadline. You're putting a deadline on yourself, and that gives your mind the timeline. You can see the timeline in your head. So once you have your annual goals, these are the 3 things that I do. So I write them down, and then I actually print them off on a piece of paper, like a 8.5 by 11. I make sure they fill the page. And then I take those 7 goals, or 3 to 7 goals, whatever it is, and I actually create a vision board. So I have an 8.5 by 11 vision board, and I have an 8.5 by 11 Word document of all of my goals. And so I literally take those 2 pieces of paper everywhere I go. I take them with me if we're traveling, and I use that as a visual. I'm very visual, so that helps me a lot. So I take that with me, and then the third thing I did was actually record myself speaking through my goals and my affirmations. And one thing I did forget to mention is the affirmation is another part of it. So every year I actually pick a theme for my year. So this year for me is in flow. It's in flow of everything I'm doing. I'm always trying to get into flow state. And so what I mean by that is we're constantly distracted and constantly doing like 50 different things and working on things for 5 minutes and then 2 minutes and then 10 minutes. And really you get your best creative juices, your best thoughts, your best action happens when you're in flow, when you're doing something continuously for hours at a time and you're concentrated on one task. And so I realized that just from reading books and my own personal experience. And so now I'm making that a core theme for the year. So I've made out a whole theme all about being in flow, and then I have my 7 goals, and I look at that every day. I look at it both from a word perspective, I look at it from a visual perspective, and then I also listen to it. I listen to myself speaking it at least 2 times every day. And then on top of that, I write out those goals every day. And I kid you not, this stuff works. Like, that's why we're making this video, because it actually does work. And I want to give you a few examples for me that have worked out very well using this same technique. So a few examples, we actually, and I can see it right up on my wall right over here, is we for the longest time wanted a Tesla Model 3, a white Tesla Model 3. And about 1.5 years ago, we got our Tesla Model 3, but it took me putting it on my wall, putting it on my goals, writing it down every day, visualizing us with a Tesla Model 3, visualizing us as Tesla Model owners or Tesla Model 3 owners. And me seeing that and vibrating at that higher level to make it reality. And that's really what we're doing here is we're putting into action. We're helping your body and your mind get to a higher level of where you feeling and being part of your future reality. And so you're not only visualizing yourself driving the Tesla or whatever it is, but you're also visualizing the steps that it's going to take, the action that you need to take, the income you need to generate, the relationships you need to build, the person you need to become in order to be a Tesla owner, whatever it is for you guys. And so that's one example. Another one is we just recently closed a land development deal in Huntsville. It was a 336 unit deal. And that was something that was on my goal list. It's been on my goal list for the last like a year and a half, where every day I was visualizing getting that deal done. I was visualizing what it took, what I had to do with my partners, what I had to do with the people we were selling it to. What did I have to do in order to make that happen? And it ended up being a home run deal. And that's just one of the deals we've closed that I use that same exact technique on. I've closed over 1,400 units to date, doing something similar to what we're talking about today. And then finally, I think this could resonate with some people too, is that I use this same technique. I was very maniacally and defiantly focused when I knew that I wanted to create Holiday Ventures and I wanted to leave my W-2 job, that I focused on that every day and I set a deadline. And I ended up, I think I set like September 1st. And guess what? I ended up, my last day as a W-2 was like August 9th. So I ended up beating my own goal by a couple weeks. But it likely wouldn't have happened had I not been intentional. I didn't set a goal. I didn't think about it every day. Like I literally had that written down on a piece of paper that was in my wallet. And I was carrying it around everywhere I went. I was like, I'm going to leave September 1st and I'm going to make it happen. And I believed in myself and I visualized myself doing it. And I constantly was thinking about what steps do I have to take to actually make that happen. And that was really powerful for me. And that's what the whole point of this video is, because it's worked for me. And we've had massive success over really the last 5-10 years, but really especially the last year. And I really wanted to share that with you guys because I know you guys will get a lot of value out of doing exactly what I've learned to do. So if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to subscribe, like this video below. We also have a couple links below about what we're doing with Holiday Ventures and goal setting as well. And if you didn't notice, I'm wearing our Impact Investor t-shirt. This is a special t-shirt, really all about impact investing and having impact with your capital. And we've made these specially for our Holiday Ventures impact investors that work right alongside us. And we will be eventually opening these up to the public and selling these. So if you're interested, drop a comment below. And guys, have an amazing day.